What's good, YouTube? Flash Speaks back, man, for another video. We got a lot.
I got a question.
We got a lot to talk about, man. There's been, as you know, a lot going on in the NFL, the world of the NFL, that I definitely have to talk about. But we know, as far as today, Eagles got next. Eagles are up. All right, 3 o'clock. The Rams going to come in here. The weather is supposed to be, not like I care about weather. A lot of people make a big deal about that type of stuff. But apparently it seems that teams that are from cold, warm weather places, they don't want to play here. Listen, I was just out there. It's pretty damn cold. So we're talking about weather in the 20s, maybe around game time. So, yeah, that's going to be real. Snow is in the forecast, so I don't know how many inches it will be. I don't think it'll be anything too crazy though. We're not talking about a foot, maybe a couple of inches, right, of snow around game time. All right, but what are we here to talk about the two games from yesterday, man. Obviously, you know, when we talk about game one with the Chiefs and the Houston Texans, for many it's not a surprise. For me, it wasn't a surprise at all. I knew the Chiefs would somehow find a way to win, or whether you want to look at it like Houston finds a way to lose, or whether it is a Chiefs win in conjunction with the damn officials, whatever way you want to look at it, I just knew somehow them damn Chiefs would be standing at the end of the day. So now we're talking about a duo in Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid that ever since they've been together have been in the championship game, well, with the exception of Mahomes' rookie year, in which he didn't play much. This duo has been in the AFC Championship game every year. Every year. This has to be unprecedented. Even we look at Tom Brady's early years. That second year, after they won the Super Bowl in 2001, they didn't actually make the playoffs in 2002. All right, so we're talking about unprecedented stuff right here that the Kansas City Chiefs are doing. Not pretty at all. They just find a way. They just kind of chug along. It almost looks like they got some type of damn magic pixie dust on their side, which many of us are predicting every damn week is going to come to a halt. Not too many people picked them to lose to Houston. Houston is kind of like a team that, you know, just they won their division in a weak division. They made it to the playoffs, but Houston just isn't a team that people expect to knock them off. So there's no surprise there with that one, right? All right, so what we got to talk about, man, is what happened up there in Detroit. That shit was crazy, man. So before I go into the details about the game, I guess I gotta do this, right? This kid, Jaden Daniels, from LSU, the top pick for the Washington Redskins last season. He earned my respect, I guess. I gotta say, just put it bluntly. And to be honest with you, he ain't really earned it. He just took the shit. To be real, he just took the damn respect. There's no way. I can't even go deep into as much Eagle hate or Washington hate that I have as being an Eagles fan to try to speak, you know, against the guy. Like I said, in my opinion, still his year in terms of statistical success, as well as even the winning success, with the exception of the fact that there's a lot of fucking come behind stuff he did. I didn't think it was that extraordinary to the point where people were making it out to be, but now I kind of get what they mean in terms of like it's the way he's doing it. It's not just the numbers, right? You can find other rookie seasons that can match his rookie year numbers-wise. RG3 was close numbers-wise. Dak Prescott was close, if not better, numbers-wise. And then if you start looking at running backs and other positions, of course, there's rookie seasons that are comparable. One could argue that Randy Moss had a better rookie season numbers wise. One could argue Earl Campbell had a better rookie season numbers wise. You get the point. But when you talk about the impact, taking a franchise that hasn't been in the playoffs in a few years. I think they were in the playoffs in 2019 and something like that when they had Smith. I think they were in the playoffs. But this motherfucker, he just what does he do yesterday? Jaden Daniels goes 22 of 31, 299 yards, 2 touchdowns. Undeniable, man. And based on my principles of how I judge a quarterback, I gotta respect this kid, man. He so far in his career, he has the one quality that I tell you guys all the time that you should be looking for in your quarterback. The best arm and all that shit, yes, that's good. Even things like the best pocket presence, of course, are good. Athleticism, all of that stuff, timing, routes, running and timing, throws, all of that stuff is important, yes. But the main ingredient that if your quarterback has, he will succeed more than he doesn't, is poise, is focus. And so far, this kid hasn't really been rattled. I would say, with the exception of one time I felt like he was rattled, and that was the first time he played the Eagles, that first game. Now, a lot of people are saying he also had rib injuries and a number of things like that. And listen, I'll give you that. But I felt like in that first game with the Eagles, he was rattled. Now, he kind of got the Eagles back in that second game, albeit without Jalen Hurts playing and with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson going out. Not to make excuses, but that was the reality of that game. I still feel like the Eagles win that game if Hurts doesn't go out. But this is going to be the story all week. The story all week, the headlines are going to be Jaden Daniels, the best rookie quarterback people have seen in years. The headlines are going to say he's the best quarterback in the NFC East. Some of these crazy prognosticators are going to go so far as saying he's the best quarterback in the NFC. This is the type of shit they're going to be saying. And at least for right now, for a day, it's kind of hard to refute any of that. The Lions, I'm not surprised what happened to the Lions, though I picked them. And it's only because the Lions have had these injuries lurking and harming them, pretty much setting them up for this all season. However, they never became vulnerable during the year. They were just chugging along, still steamrolling everybody, still putting up all those points. The defense was just finding a way. The defense isn't ranked that high amongst the best defenses for reasons. Aaron Glenn, I still believe, should be defensive coach of the year. I think Vic Fangio did the best job overall this year as far as defensive coach of the year. This team is number one, but Vic Fangio had the advantage of having all his players be relatively healthy. Even now, we lost Brandon Graham, who is an important part of what we do. He's one of the leaders on the team. But Brandon Graham, being a little older, and I'm not going to say he's not a guy that's going to get double-digit sacks at this point in his career. And then he lost Nakobe Dean. We lost Nakobe Dean, but that was just last week. For the most part, this year, Vic Fangio had all of his pieces in place for the most part. Whereas Aaron Glenn of the Detroit Lions, man, bro, I can't speak enough for the job he was able to do all year, with the exception of yesterday. I think yesterday, as they say, the chickens just came home to roost, man. It was just too many injuries, and they just couldn't overcome it. That's the one part. So I'm going to give respect to Aaron Glenn, man, for that. I think he did a hell of a job. I think he should be in the running for defensive coach of the year, considering what he was able to do with what he had. All right. But the story of this game here, in terms of why the Lions lost, you got to look at Jared Goff. Jared Goff is just another one of those quarterbacks I tell you guys about all the time. Okay, he has the height. Okay, he has the arm. He has the timing throws. He all that shit that all of y'all act like is everything that a quarterback needs to be. He stands there in the pocket. He manipulates the pocket. Does all of that stuff, right? But then what happens? What happens? And this is a guy with experience, so it's really no excuse. What happens? He comes into this game here at home, everything in his advantage, to his advantage, at home on that carpet with the better offensive weapons and everything. Because to me, it's still a mismatch when you look at Washington's defense versus the Lions offense. You talk about Jahmyr Gibbs. And for my money, Gibbs is the second or third best running back in the league, depending on the type of running back you like. If you like the power type, you'll say Henry. If you like the freaky deaky, all the moves, fast type, you might go with Gibbs. Of course, Barkley is number one. Do whatever way you look at it. But Gibbs is top 2-3 running backs. He got that. You got one of the fastest wide receiving cores. We talk about Amon St. Brown. I'm with St. Brown, and when you're talking about Jameson Williams, he has a hell of a tight end. One of the best offensive lines in the league. Some people have argued to me that the Lions' offensive line is as good as the Eagles. I think it's second. After some amount, a little bit, but they're up there. And then what does Goff do? He goes up there and he fucks up. He shits the bed. He pisses on himself, throwing 3 interceptions. And then people like when I brought this up weeks ago, in that game we threw 5 interceptions, but somehow miraculously we found a way to come back and win. People act like that was no big deal. The Lions are so powerful, they can overcome 5 picks. Well, guess what? In the playoffs, you can't do that shit, man. You can't do that in the playoffs. Jared Goff goes out there against a Commander's defense that is not dominant, a defense that does not like turn people over like that. It's not what they're known for. It's not their MO. And he goes out there and turns the damn ball over, and that's all about that's about lacking the poise that's needed to win championships, man. Unfortunately. That's what it's about. And then you got Dan Campbell, like I said, some people love the way he coaches. I don't. Aggressiveness is fine when it's applied properly. I thought he was horrible last year against the 49ers. I think by all accounts, he should have won that game had he transferred to a different type of strategy where they would have play more ball control at a certain point. But what happens is they go out there, just real briefly, and you throw 2 interceptions to linebackers last season. Now, people thought it would be different this year. You come in this year, I get it, the defensive injuries. But that's no excuse for the offense turning the ball over like that with the amount of talent that they have. And the difference, Jaden Daniels goes out there, throws for a little bit less yards, throws the ball 10 less times. But you're talking about more ball control, efficient offense. What happened with the Washington? The difference between them and the Lions. When Washington was up 10 at a certain point, they switched their strategy. Now they're playing ball control offense. Okay, and that's really what won them the game. Ball control offense. Jaden Daniels, in that third quarter, they put together long drives, eating up the clock. That's the way you play football. This is a situation where Dan Quinn outcoaches Campbell. You see, Campbell just aggression. And like I said, it might win you a bunch of games in the regular season. You come to the playoffs, you cannot do that dumb stuff. And this is where it bites Campbell in the ass right here. But I'm shocked. And like I said, to all you Commander fans, who come through and say that I'm hating, I will no longer hate on Jaden Daniels. The kid earned my respect. There's nothing you can say. He comes in as a rookie. Now, what I won't do though is allow y'all to act as if like he doesn't have weapons and he doesn't have talent. That's bullshit. He has weapons and he does have talent. Now, they may not be to the level of like, say, the Eagles, 49ers, pick your team, the Rams, etc. But he has a sound offensive line, okay? And he also has McLaurin who many will argue is a top 10 wide receiver in the league. Some will say he's even better than that. You got Zach Ertz as a hell of a comfort. That's his guy, Zach Ertz. In a lot of the way he's playing this year reminds me of Carson Wentz 2017. Carson Wentz 2017, Zach Ertz was just the recipient. Carson Wentz's thought process was very simple. If all else fails, look for number 86. And you see Jaden Daniels does a lot of that. Matter of fact, to look at this here, he goes to Zach Ertz only caught 5 balls here, but and 1 touchdown. But if you look throughout the year, when things are in doubt, he goes to Zach Ertz a lot. Now, depending on who they play next week, I don't know how that works, but shout out to the Commanders, man. There's no way I had them winning this game. I thought their magic fairy dust ride was going to come to an end. All right, good morning, everybody. I see Braden in here. What's going on, bro? And then you got Lamar Epps instead of Omar Epps. Yeah, I like that. So good morning, family. It was good morning. So is what true about AJ? Break it down to me, Lamar. What do you mean? You said is that true about AJ? Is what true about AJ? Now, like I said, I'm just gonna formally have to apologize for that. For what I've said about Jaden Daniels. I said wet by the ears, wet behind the ears, breath smell like Similac. I said a whole lot of shit about this kid all year. Based off of that first game against the Eagles, I thought he did look rattled in that game. I thought the Eagles had his number. But then again, Eagles had the number 1 defense in the league. Did a good job against Lamar, did a good job against Stafford, did a good job against Burrow. All of these different guys. So I'm not going to hold that against him to that degree. And he did kind of get the Eagles back in that second game. So this kid, I got to respect him. What he's done is something you just don't really see much. You figure he's on some type of trajectory where he keeps this up. This dude's going to be a fucking problem in the NFC East. There's no doubt about it. Now, I know it's going to be a lot of bullshit this week. People saying he's better than Hurts and better than Dak Prescott and better than all of that. I don't believe that yet because of what you got to understand with rookies or any player that has a breakout season, you got to look for the next season what's going to happen. All right, so now teams are going to have 16. There's 2 things that Washington got to be concerned about next season. I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit because they might go out. They're going to probably go out there and lose to the Eagles next week, but we'll see about that. 2 things you got to look out for, though. Next season, teams will have more tape on Jaden Daniels as far as understanding his tendencies. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, the schedule gets tougher. Okay, you made it to the championship this year. Next year, you're going to get a way different schedule. All right, where you're going to play harder teams. They'll make you go through gauntlets. Eagles went through that shit last year. All right, so that's what happens. The number 2, Cliff Kingsbury will likely be gone. All right, so we're going to be talking about Jaden Daniels with a different offensive coordinator, different type of play calling. Hopefully, they'll keep the same offense for him. They were smart with what they did with him this year. They used a lot of the concepts he was already familiar with at LSU. They did not force him to learn a pro-style offense, which was very smart. I give the Commanders all the credit in the world for that. And this is what they got. So shout out to them. But next week, I expect y'all to get y'all asses kicked. Okay? You said you hope it's fake news that he's banned 2 years. AJ Brown banned? Yeah, that's news to me. I haven't heard anything about that. Matter of fact, let me look that up now. That would come up immediately, I'm sure. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that, sir. Yeah, I doubt it, bro. I'm not seeing it. I'm looking up Eagles news right now. I don't see anything about AJ Brown of that nature. So, yeah, I doubt that. All right, so What we got coming up now though is 2 games, which I think is going to be the best 2 games. All right, so I see y'all want to talk about the Lions a little bit. So you got Benjamin Allen says the Lions D-line was soft. No pressure on him all game. Yeah, Lions D-line, man, when they lost, I think Aiden Hutchinson and those guys, man, they don't have the pressure. That will not be the case next week, whether they play the Rams or the Eagles, which we're going to talk about the Eagles and the Rams in a minute. I will be shocked the Eagles lose to the Rams at home. I just don't think the Rams have what it takes. Now, I'm going to say this from the Eagles' perspective. The Eagles have no excuses to not go to the Super Bowl this year. Philadelphia Eagles have no excuse to not reach the Super Bowl. Facts on that. We went from being the number 2 seed to now the number 1 seed is knocked off. Eagles are the number 1 seed right now. These top dogs. Meaning everybody has to come into Philadelphia. So if you are going to go to the Super Bowl, you got to come into Philadelphia and beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the talk that's going out there is, hey, the Eagles are stacked, number 1 defense, bona fide stars are everywhere on offense, okay? But the weakness is Jalen Hurts. This is what goes out there. And this is perfect for Hurts. This is perfect for him. Go out there, handle business against the Rams today. All right? I don't care what that shit look like, whether it look like Saquon Barkley runs for another 300 yards, and that's possible because he ran for 255 last time, and then he caught another couple passes. He had 300 yards in that game. Or if you go to A.J. Brown, A.J. Brown had about 8 catches for over 100 yards in that game. Devontae Smith did not play. Dallas Goedert did not play in that first game against the Rams. All right, so we need to understand that. The first time the Eagles and the Rams played each other, the Philadelphia Eagles beat the Rams in L.A. with no Devontae Smith and no Dallas Goedert. Okay? So that's what happened. So Eagles are heavily favored in this game. We're talking about in Philadelphia. I was just outside. It's cold as shit out there. Okay? So everything's in the Eagles' favor in this game. Right? So the Rams, by all accounts, should be running into a buzzsaw. For real, for real. That's what it should be. That's what it's all set up to be. Philadelphia Eagles fans like myself could not imagine in our wildest dreams that the whole playoffs in the NFC had to come through Philadelphia. The Commanders, a team that we, in our heart of hearts, we feel like they're our little brothers, to be honest with you, that they really can't beat us. All things fair, no cheating, and all things are just plain. We whoops the Commanders' ass, in our opinion. However, the Commanders have a way of being very annoying and making these games very mucky and all of those types of things. They grab face masks, they take dirty shots, they do all types of shit, and then we end up doing that back to them, and then that's what happens. It happened in 2022, and that one game, the first game that we lost all season was to the Commanders. There were face masks that weren't called on Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert actually got face masked so bad that he was taken out the game, and the officials didn't call that. It was just a goofy ass game. Guys were dropping balls that they normally don't drop, and that's kind of what happened the last time we lost to the Commanders. Right? Jalen Carter is just being targeted by the damn refs. Anything he does, he's getting 15-yard penalties for. C.J. Gardner-Johnson was kicked out of the game after he got pushed. He didn't even retaliate. He just said something, and he gets kicked out. But the guy that pushed him didn't. Jalen Hurts gets taken out on the weirdest concussion I've ever seen. I guess it's real, but they say he passed the protocol. So I don't know what the hell was going on in that first game. But what I can't do is I can't take away from Jaden Daniels, who went out there and actually scored 5 touchdowns. You can't take that away from him. He did do that. But what it does is it sets up, if the Eagles can get past the Rams, which I expect will happen, it sets up for a hell of a showdown between the Eagles and the Rams. I mean, the Eagles and the Commanders. We're talking about it. I don't remember the last time we had an all NFC East championship game. Man, I know in 1980 it happened. That's a hell of a long time ago. I wonder, was that ever the case after that? You know, I don't remember ever the Eagles being part of a championship game against the NFC East team. You know, so look, it feels good to be up here, don't it, Redskins? Feels good to be up here. You know, so we're gonna see. This is when it gets real. And this is a chance for Jalen Hurts to kill all the narratives. Go out there and win this game, and then go up there next week and show all these motherfuckers and all these people who don't really know football and don't understand who you are against this young boy. Right? That's your young boy. You put him and you put that whole team in place where they need to be, and you send their asses home packing. That's what has to happen next week. And it's hard for me to talk about the Rams all because that's what needs to happen next week. Right now, we're the number 1 seed. You got to come into Philadelphia and take this shit. That's what has to happen. You got to be built for that. That's what we need to see. But as far as the Rams today, hey, look, let me go to some of y'all commentary, man, because I see a lot of all right, so Jacob Leftfield, what's going on, homie? He says, I trust Jalen Hurts and the defense. The Birds got this. I'm right there with you, bro. Keyword, Lamar Epps says, keyword, we must win. Smart, absolutely. Absolutely. Stay healthy, yeah. Don't even worry about no health today. We're going all out. But staying healthy is important. But don't have that in your mind when you out there. Don't worry about that. Just play. So if we beat the Rams, we're going to finish what we started with the Commanders. Like, yeah. It's real storybook the way it's looking. It's real storybook the way it's looking because everybody know that last game with them Commanders was some bullshit. Everybody know that. Everybody know that one. Benjamin Allen, what's happening, homie? I like that. I like that jersey. You got the 5. Yo, how you think Q going to do this time versus Terry McLaurin? This is the 3rd time we played him. I think it depends on strategy. First game, like I said, Jaden Daniels was very conservative, as you know. Didn't even really test Quinyon Mitchell that much when he was out there. So it was really good. I think he caught 1 catch, and it was when they moved him around. They put him on the other side. He caught 1 in front of Coop. I think that's what happened. Now, the second game, McLaurin caught a long pass. For me, that was more of a broken play than anything. It wasn't like Quinyon was late to react. I don't know what he was doing. He was kind of sleeping on that play. Maybe he fell for a fake or something. Maybe because he wasn't tested deep by Daniels. He didn't think Daniels would do it, and he did. Caught him sleeping. Yo, wake your ass up and be ready. We don't need none of them dumbass broken plays like last time. Last time, I think the whole team was frustrated, discombobulated by how one-sided the officials were slanting everything towards the Commanders. I think that's what kind of caught us off guard. I really believe that. You know, the team was just like, hey, what can we do? So you touch these niggas, or excuse my language, all right? You touch these dudes, and you calling fouls, everything. What can you do when C.J. Gardner-Johnson is yelling at a dude hits him, and C.J. gets kicked out, right? Now, the crazy thing is, you know that crew from that game, that Washington game, we got them dudes today. Hopefully, we don't get them next week, though, if we get past the Rams, which I expect to do, and play the Commanders. You know, but the good thing is we 2-1 with this crew, so you know what I mean. We winning generally despite that. You know what I mean. But as far as Q versus McLaurin, it kind of depends, man, on the schemes that they use and what Fangio does. If Fangio is dedicated to what you call the core principles of his scheme, which is to take away the long ball, right? And he has Q kind of playing that off zone somewhat. Is a chance McLaurin, if the Commanders employ something like they did against the Lions, which has a lot of, because I wasn't overly impressed with like everything you saw in the scheme. they were getting away with a lot of wide receiver screens, a lot of running back screens, a lot of little dink and dunk bullshit. Is a chance that McLaurin can have good numbers, but a small impact. Like, in other words, it might be a lot of catches that are from screens, a lot of catches that are from like little crossing slants and stuff like that, and he'll get tackled. I kind of see that sort of game. So what I see, honestly, is McLaurin with about 5 or 6 catches, but for about 50, 60 yards and no touchdowns. That's what I see. And for me, something like that is a win for Quinyon Mitchell. Honestly, as long as you're not getting beat for touchdowns, you're not getting beat for anything long. I think it'll go something like that. I don't think they're going to test us deep that much. Say they dirty players? Yeah, of course. AJ Brown got to keep his cool. Absolutely, man. You go out there snapping out in playoff games, that's going to be a problem. But I honestly believe AJ Brown is going to get targeted. I think he's going to get targeted. What AJ Brown has to understand is each game is its own story, right? And he also has to understand that he's going to draw most of the attention from the defense. It's not likely that he's going to be the guy that's open all the time. Now, what AJ Brown wants is he wants Hurts to throw him the ball despite being despite not being open. That's what he wants, and I get that. I understand that. That's the way the Eagles used to play. That's the way the Eagles played last season. This is why Jalen Hurts threw 15 touchdowns, 15 interceptions last year, because he would always give AJ and Devontae a chance to make a play on the ball. Sometimes they'd be single covered. Sometimes he'd throw them when they double covered. It seems to me that this year, since they picked up Saquon Barkley and they saw how great this offensive line was, and you had Lane Johnson and all these guys confronting Nick Sirianni earlier in the year, especially around week 4 after that Tampa Bay debacle, that the Eagles had a change of heart. Now, and they started to lean more on Saquon Barkley. Now, what I don't like about Nick Sirianni is that Nick Sirianni, and I'm mentioning him instead of Kellen Moore here, is Nick Sirianni has a problem in finding a balance when it comes to offense. Either Nick is too far, just passing, too much passing without enough running, or he's too much running without enough passing. The challenge for Nick Sirianni is to know how to mix it in properly, how to have this play go to that play, how to have the running play lead to the pass play. That's what he's doing. That's what he has a problem with. Now, where Kellen Moore comes in at is Kellen Moore, I think, has, and I gotta give him this benefit of the doubt. I believe Kellen Moore has dumbed it down a lot of his playbook from what it has to be. It has to be that. Because there's no reason why he's a guy that's known for using motion, pre-snap motion, misdirection. Like, he's kind of has that reputation for these types of things, but I'm not seeing that in the Eagles game plan. Now, haters of Jalen Hurts, like these jokers over in WIP, they're going to say that's because of Hurts, which makes no fucking sense whatsoever. It's obviously because of Nick Sirianni. When we look at game 1, I'm gonna just give you a brief go back. This is just my thought process when I'm talking about these things. We go back to the beginning of the season. Now we can go back to training camp. All the reports out of training camp. This is the best training camp Jalen Hurts has ever had. There's all this misdirection. There's all this plays from under center. Jalen Hurts himself says that 99% of the offense is different. Right? That's telling you that Kellen Moore, when he came and when he's able to have free reign and implement his offense and install his offense, it looks completely different from what Nick Sirianni does. However, when you start to see the game, okay, you look at the all 22s and you look at some of the route design and you look at the fact that they're hardly going under center. When you look at the lack of pre-snap motion, we're still towards the bottom of the league in pre-snap motion. You know that's Nick Sirianni and his bullshit. What Nick Sirianni is doing, though he's not play calling, he still plays a part in installing the plays that they're going to be used during the week, right? During early in the season, they strip out the first 15 and whatever other plays they're going to use that they use as a walkthrough all week. Okay, I believe Nick Sirianni is of the belief that if we just lean on Saquon Barkley and we have Jalen Hurts throw the ball when needed, and we lean on this defense, that's enough. I think Nick Sirianni believes that. So this is why you see what you see. This is leading to a frustrated A.J. Brown, who knows that he really can't be stopped for real by none of these cornerbacks. All right. And it leads to a frustrated Devontae Smith, who just does a better job of controlling his anger and frustration than, say, an A.J. Brown. And I believe it's Kellen Moore. Because I'm sorry. I believe, yes, Kellen Moore in conjunction with Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni, because remember, in the Packer game, Hurts throws the ball over 35 times in that game. Passes for over 300 yards in that game. However, there was 2 interceptions, okay? And I think that they're so freaked out over interceptions to the point where they completely went the other way. And I think that's a mistake. You're going to have to do a combination of, you're going to have to do somewhere in the middle. And this is what the Eagles are struggling with. Hopefully it's not enough to hurt them. I don't remember when we have a rival. Oh, you mean in the championship game, like the Washington? Yeah, me either. Frankie Louvu from Washington, dirty as fuck. Yes, he is. Follett, the Chiefs game was an absolute disgrace. Even Troy Aikman's disgust can be heard live on air. Listen, I don't even want to talk about them damn Chiefs, man. I really don't. They pretty much, it's the same shit all the time. Simply Ball Dropping. My man, what's going on, bro? Listen, anybody who isn't subscribed to my man here, K. Sam from Simply Ball Dropping, I think should go over there and definitely subscribe to him. He's one of the best out here. I know. I think he primarily talks about the basketball, and definitely on the women's sports. He's one of the people I go to for the WNBA content for sure. And his platform is good. If you like to talk, he let you come on, run your mouth. You know what I mean? Get into debates with people, all the type of shit I love to do. Simply Ball Dropping. Shout out to him. One of the best channels out, man. So Lamar Epps says, I knew all along it was going to be in our favor for the number 1 seed. Yeah. So you knew. So you telling me you knew Jaden Daniels and the Whippersnappers was going to go up there and take care of Detroit. Okay. I need to see. I need you to share with me that crystal ball. I like to see that. Oh, man. McLaurin will get his. He's too great. It's about stopping everyone else. Not necessarily. You can go in with a strategy where you don't let him beat you. I think you throw a Quinyon on him, and then you roll the defense, the roll of safety there to help. That's one strategy. Or you can employ the strategy you're talking about where he gets his and you put, one guy on him or something like that. Now, I don't think it's going to be any of that because what happens is the Eagles are going to be forced to zone against Jaden Daniels. You can't play man. You play man and your damn cornerbacks start following these receivers. This motherfucker Daniels is going to take off. He's going to take off and run for 88 yards. And then he's going to catch, he's going to complete all types of passes on the run. All of that's going to happen if you play man. So I don't think that'll be the strategy at all. You want to have all 11 guys looking at his ass, right? That's the way you got to play him. So it's going to be a lot of zone. Now, the key is going to be Zach Bond in the middle of that field taking away Zach Ertz to the best of his ability. And that's what killed Daniels in the first game. If you remember, Daniels tried to go to Ertz early in that first game. Zach Bond picked that shit off. Right now, the one concern we do have in the middle of the field, no Nakobe Dean. And I know Zach Bond is the man. Zach Bond is all pro. Zach Bond should be all pro. Zach Bond should be getting a big hefty check from Howie Roseman. However, listen, the smartest player on that defense, the brain on the defense, make no mistake, is Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean is the smartest player on the defense. Okay? Vic Fangio has said it, and if you know what you're looking at when you watch, you already know it. Nakobe Dean's play recognition is top tier. right? Nakobe Dean's ability to recognize, okay, that quarterback is going to keep that ball, or he's going to pull it, or he knows it before everybody else in the Eagles. There's been so many times Nakobe Dean is moving to blow the fucking play up, boom, before everybody else even knows what's going on. We're going to miss that. Okay, we're going to miss that. And he was the green dot guy. That's why, like, people were surprised when Nakobe Dean beat out Devin White. I was not, and it's not because he's a better athlete or any of that stuff. It's this up here, right? Nakobe Dean is an extension of Vic Fangio on that field. He's like the point guard out there, right? So we got to overcome that. Now, the good thing is he's backed up by a very smart player, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., who's been prepared by his father his whole life, right? His father made sure that he got this part of the game, the part that he ain't really had. Jeremiah Trotter Sr. was not like, he was an athletic guy. He wasn't really, that wasn't his strong suit, okay? But his son, he made sure his son, who doesn't have the physical attributes he had, has all this up here, right? So that's what we're hoping, man. Maybe, you never know. This could be breakout situation for Trot Jr. But make no mistake, Kobe Dean, the brains on that defense will be missed. Make no mistake about it. Okay, what about Jalen? He got to be smart on his quarterback slides. Don't take unexpected late hits, and we don't need no. Absolutely, I agree 100%. Jalen Hurts has to go out there in this game. See, us against the Rams, our major advantage is the offensive line. They have no answer for our offensive line. And then our major advantage on the other side is the defensive line. The Rams are a bad matchup for the Eagles simply because their strength, their receiving core is like, we can match that with our secondary, okay? Like, they'll get there. Nakua is good. You're not going to, like, stop them. Nakua might even get 100 yards in this game, something like that, right? But they're not going to dominate, okay? Our offensive line, their defensive line, I like them. I do. I like Verse. I like the other guy. Those two rookies are phenomenal. However, they're going up against Mailata and Lane Johnson, who don't really care about nothing about these guys. They're going to take them and drill their ass into the ground. It's just, another day at the office for them. And then in the middle, man, you got Landon Dickerson. You got Juergens. You got Becton. It's just too big. I don't care if you play the Rams 100 times, 99 out of 100 times, Saquon's going to have a field day. It's just going to be holes. It's going to be chances from the goal, 50 yards. It's going to be like that all day against the Rams. Now, the Rams may employ some strategy where they try to jam the box, put 8 in the box or whatever. That's where you need Hurts to go do his thing, which I believe he can and will. Now, what do the Rams do? Do you zone Jalen Hurts and allow, Smitty and A.J. Brown to sit in those zones, assuming Kellen Moore does the right thing, right? Or do you play man, and then now you face the same problem that you're going to have with like a Daniels, and Hurts just takes off with his legs? Your choice, right? Pick your poison. Bad matchup for the Rams. I don't see it, but I agree. You got to be smart. You got to slide when he has to slide, get out of bounds, all of that shit. Like, someone has to really rock Mahomes now. It's time. More BS penalties, sliding, dancing. Yeah, fuck the Chiefs. F the Chiefs. Okay. Welcome to HD2 TV. Oh, what's going on, bro? Another one, another great channel, man. Them guys, I don't know how they do it, man. This guy goes live. I think they went all night, man, talking NFL. And talking, the women's unrivaled for you brothers who will follow that. But please go subscribe if you want some good content. My man got opinions that are very unorthodox. Stuff you might not hear on ESPN and so on. But listen, whether you agree or disagree with my man right here, welcome to HGTV. You got to say he got his opinion. He got his reasons for his opinion, and he can articulate his reasoning whether you think he bugging or not. That's one thing I give him. He got his reasoning. He got his reasoning for it. And, hey, got to respect that. So, one of the best channels without a doubt. Shout out to the bro, man. Start Trotter Jr. That might end up happening. I don't think that he's going to start right away. I think he still has to prove himself a little bit. What Fangio's looking for, I think, is a guy that's an extent that sees the game the way he sees it. That's what it seems like Vic Fangio is about. Right now, the green dot is going to be Zach Bond today, who earned it. But you never know. I think they're going to rotate between him and Burks. And you never know. I think what will end up happening is Trot may win out. It ain't nothing but a couple plays you got to make, and who knows, man? Who knows? Eagles fan acting real Lions-like. Y'all see what not focusing on and respecting your opponent gets you worried about LA. Well, I don't think the Eagles are worried about anybody, right? Now, fans can talk. We can talk ish all we want because we ain't got to go out there and focus on shit. You know what I mean? As long as our team is focused, that's what matters. Right now, I think the Eagles in the locker room are looking at barbecue chicken right now. They looking like, yo, we got 2 games in Philly. Oh yeah, that's honestly what I think they're thinking. I don't think you got to worry about that. And the Lions, I don't think the Lions lost because they weren't focused on Washington. I just think the Lions, you just got to look at it. Washington has a top 5 offense. At certain points of the year, they were like top 5, right? They're top offense. Lions had top offense, right? Okay. Washington has healthy, for the most part, defense. Whereas the Lions defense was just marred by all types of injuries, which I think they were able to cover up for a while. And like I said, Aaron Glenn should be in consideration for Defensive Coach of the Year because of the job he did considering what he had. But I think at the end of the day, too many injuries, man. It was just too much to overcome, especially at this level when we talk about in the playoffs. Also, Washington had a good plan, and they have a nice young poised quarterback, and that's what did it. And then, like I said, Goff on the other side, he golfed up the game. Goff coughed, Jared Thomas for laying flopping in football is an absolute disgrace. There should be on field punishment for flop. Talk about Mahomes. Listen, man, I want to play the Chiefs, bro. I want the Eagles to play the Chiefs. We will dominate the hell out of the Chiefs. I believe that 100%. The Eagles and the Chiefs meet in the Super Bowl. Eagles will dominate the hell out of the Chiefs this time. Because it ain't Jonathan Gannon calling that defense, bro. It ain't no Bradbury back there who got to pull on everybody every 5 minutes, bro. We still got Slay out there who will make the big mistake at some point. But, hey, ain't got Bradbury out there. We got these young Lions and goons out there. And I don't think it's going to be no slippery-ass field, to help them against our pass rush. So, Braden says, I'm so hyped for the game today. Let's go Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. Fly, Eagles, fly. I'm right there with you, bro. I can't. Listen, man. I'm about to go out right now. I got to go to the halal wing store. I got to get me about like 5-10 pounds of chicken wings. Those about to be deep in some grease. You know what I'm saying? We make our own wing sauce around here, buffalo wing sauce. We about to have the butter with the I use some crystal, right? But then I take a little bit of that scorpion sauce, that shit that'll burn your whole tongue off. I take just little tablespoon, little teaspoon in there. You know what I mean? Mixed with most of that crystal, that Louisiana sauce. Mix that up. And then what I like to take a little. Y'all need to try this. You take a little bit of that. If you could find garlic Parmesan sauce, you mix that in there. Put a bottle of that in there with that buffalo wing sauce, bro. Come on, man. Come on, cause whole family gonna knock 10 pounds of wings off like it's nothing. You know what I'm saying? But that's what we gonna have going on right here, man. But when I'm done here, I'm gonna shoot down to the link though real quick because I always gotta go down there with the peoples and see who down there, mingle with the tailgaters a little bit. If the If the guards ain't hating, let the last piece come through, mingle with the tailgaters a little bit. Listen, man, it's gonna be one of them days, man. It's gonna be one of them days. You already know. All right, so Flan, we're going to see a shootout with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and Josh Allen. 42-36 Bills. Yeah, I didn't even get to that game yet, man. That game is the hardest game for me to pick. All right, so you got the Bills winning. Okay, I mean I can see the Bills winning. I would like to see Lamar do it, but Josh Allen too. I respect Josh Allen, man. I like the way he plays. Either one of them, they need to whoever the hell can go out there and handle their business against the Chiefs. They need to go do this. We've seen Josh Allen get it done against the Chiefs in the regular season. Lamar just came up short. I mean, it was week 1, so but I'm cool with either one. I can see Bills winning. I can see Baltimore winning. If you look at the fact that Baltimore is a 1.5 point favorite on the road, if you betting, I would take. I guess the money is in Bills' money line, but I don't know. Benjamin Allen, how you think Burt's going to play today? I don't know. The good thing is he doesn't have the responsibility of calling the plays, so he'll just be able to read and react. Bond is going to do most of the heavy lifting. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what type of plans maybe McVay will have for him. If McVay is smart, he'll try to exploit that area, the middle of the field, but the middle of the field is dangerous. It's dangerous with Bond lurking around and Cooper DeJean lurking around the middle of the field. So I think Burks will be fine. Like, when you got a lot of great players around you, it's similar to like how if you ever did a moving job and, you got to move a heavy-ass refrigerator or a heavy-ass appliance or something like that, and it's like 6 of y'all, right? And you the little kid, and you got 5 dudes that are stronger. They really doing the lifting, and you just, you fronting, just kind of just putting your hand there to make it seem like you lifted some shit. That's going to be Burks today. So I'm not really worried about it. Most of those guys around him will do the heavy lifting. Where he is, kind of playing that Sam, he ain't, unless McVay is really on some mastermind stuff, I'm not worried about it. That in the middle, you got Cooper DeJean lurking around, you got Bond lurking around, and then you got CJ lurking around at times. So I think he'll be fine. I'm predicting my Commanders to face the Ravens in the biggest game of the year. Of course, you're predicting that. You know what I mean? You're a DMV guy, all right? I mean, you might not be a DMV guy. A lot of these fans don't be from the places, the teams to root for, whatever, but it sounds like a nice DMV Super Bowl. I'm sure all of y'all will love that, but I don't see how you get past the Eagles. I mean, you really believe that win y'all had was legit? Like, for real? Like, for real. You going to look me in my eye and tell me that win y'all had against the Eagles was legit, that second one? If you going to tell me, yeah, all right, cool. You know what I mean? Rock with your team. I get it. After beating Detroit, I don't fear anyone. Detroit had, 1,000 players hurt on defense, right? Eagles don't have that 1,000 players hurt on defense. Zach Ertz, we know that motherfucker, okay? Like that little Zach Ertz, we know him. I just need you to know that, right? We know Zach Ertz. We know him, okay? He ain't about to hurt the Eagles. And then McLaurin. McLaurin is McLaurin. Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus? Really? Okay. I got you. Guys are funny. All right. But, yeah, you should feel good about your Commanders. I understand. I'd probably be the same way if I was you. You don't have to worry about KC. I ain't worried about KC. I want KC. Eagles would dominate the hell out of KC. They would dominate the hell out of them, man. Buffalo would take them out before they get to New Orleans. I believe it when I see it, man. If Josh Allen can go into Arrowhead, beat them in the championship game, he get the slow clap. He has to do it, man. Has to happen. Yo, what's up with Lewis Sign? Will he get some he can play in box? I don't know what that is. Do that. Lewis signed. Is that an Eagle that I don't know? Hey, you learn something every day. I thought I knew every Eagle. I never heard of damn Lewis sign. I'm saying his name right. But in other news, man. All right, so this is officially. I got the Eagles definitely handling the Rams today. I mean, not to overlook them, but I just don't see the matchup favoring them at all. You know. And then tonight we got Buffalo versus Baltimore. That has a chance to be the most entertaining game. It really does. Both games can be entertaining, but I don't know. I just think our defense is not about to allow the Rams to score a lot. All right, so Buffalo and Baltimore. I can see it going either way, man. I really can. I believe they played earlier in the year, and I think Baltimore got over on them. You know, and a lot of times it's up to Lamar, man. If Lamar decide he gonna do whatever it takes to win, I think Baltimore wins. If he decides to do that. Now I know Josh gonna do that. Josh don't give a fuck. Josh don't worry about whether or not, people want to. Well, I guess being white helps. And then it's say no race thing, but this is what I'm saying. When you're a black quarterback and you're kind of known for running, you are as dynamic as Lamar. Sometimes in your mind, I think what happens is sometimes they get dealt with. They deal with wanting to prove they can do it passing, right? So those issues. But when you're a white dude like Josh Allen and you can run and all of that type of stuff, you ain't worried about that shit. You just go out there and you just whipping ass. And I think that's kind of like his superpower. He don't have none of those inhibitors in his head. You know what I mean? Trying to prove nothing. It's just win the fucking game. What I'm saying is if Lamar he don't allow none of that bullshit to be in his head, and he just plays free and goes crazy, does his thing, I don't know if you beat Baltimore. Then you got Derek. Then you got Henry going up against that Bills defense. You know what I mean? But like I said, both quarterbacks are Superman. So yeah, Superman versus what? Thor? yeah, I like this. Superman versus Thor, right? So two Titans going at it, man. I expect both quarterbacks to show out. I think it's going to be bananas. That's what we're gonna get next week, though. If we get Hurts and whatchamacallit and Daniels next week, yeah, damn. So officially, man, just for if you want to know what I would bet on if I'm putting money, Eagles will beat the Rams. They will cover, okay, and Buffalo. I'm only gonna go with them because they're the home team. I would not be surprised at all. Baltimore beats Buffalo. Buffalo's the home team. You go in there, Bills Mafia, going crazy. I'm gonna just give them that respect out of that they the home team and say Buffalo will take it. But we'll see. I would like to see Lamar get over the hump. That Georgia boy they got from the Vikings. Oh, okay. Right. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know a lot about him, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know a lot about him. I gotta research, see what's up with him before I can really comment on it. You know what I mean? I stay away from commenting on things I don't, I genuinely haven't looked into. You know what I mean? So I'll admit my bias. Josh is my favorite quarterback. It's part bias and part logic. Okay. School Burge. So Josh Allen don't carry play hard every game. Facts. Yeah. Lamar Jackson can't listen to Nick Wright. Nick Wright said that Lamar has to show that he's him by winning in the playoffs with just his arm. Please. If anybody listening to Nick Wright, they don't deserve to win nothing. You know what I mean? You playing football, you doing something Nick Wright could never swear to do. you doing something that Nick Wright, his job is based on your job. So no player should be listening to any prognosticator, any YouTuber, or any of that shit. You know what I mean? You live in the dream. That person is living off of you. So no football player should be listening to anybody, or try to prove anybody right or wrong. But you are right, it probably does happen. Unless you're the type that get fueled by it. Like Michael Jordan, that nigga was crazy. Like he would go into a city, like on the road, and he would go buy the local newspapers just to see if the people who wrote, because they ain't had a social media back then, but he would look for articles where local writers would talk anything about him to fuel him for the game. He was crazy, right? He's looking for motivation. And unless you're one of those guys, right, just don't even listen to it. Block it out. Unless that stuff is one of those guys that makes you play better. Then by all means, go listen to all those shows if it's gonna make you a beast. NFC East Championship game. Yep, if we get past the Rams, I agree. Welcome to HD says, to me, the Ravens offensive coordinator got to establish the run. Last year, only 3 rushing attempts in the AFC Championship game. Yeah, last year was ridiculous, man. I agree. Last year was ridiculous. They weren't running the ball. Now, I don't think that happens with Henry. He's a reminder of, what I mean, why you got him like, no, you got to run Henry. I can't see that happening. But what's weird about that is that's the Ravens' identity. When people think about the Ravens, besides Lamar, of course, obviously, you think about running. You think about physicality. And for them to go into these games, I think sometimes they overthink that shit. They're assuming that the opponent is going to be ready for what they normally do. And I think they come with a different game plan. They come with things that they're not as good at, which is dumb. Make that team stop you and force you to do something different. I never understand that type of thinking. But I agree with you. That's atrocious. That's atrocious. And that's fireable. That's a fireable offense. To go out there in 3 rushing attempts in a damn championship game with a team that is predicated on physicality. That's a disgrace. Why would a dual threat quarterback need to prove he can win by essentially cutting off half his game? That's stupid. Yeah, but it's been happening forever. I go back to McNabb. It was a big problem for Donovan McNabb, especially in that era. Sometimes I wonder, man, if in the Vic and McNabb era, if those teams weren't trying to force those guys to learn pro set offenses and had rather implemented more quarterback keepers and more runs and those types of things. You didn't really start to see that happening until Cam Newton, regularly. I wonder what Vic's career would have been like. I wonder what McNabb's career would have been like had they actually did some design runs. All of those runs were just scrambling on the fly. Nothing's damn taking off type of stuff. It's crazy. Then you think about Randall Cunningham, how dominant he could have been had they implemented, keepers and stuff like that. It's crazy. Back in the day, they used to shy away from, the quarterback using his legs now because they thought it was like some type of a hindrance or something like that. Whereas now, it's more so embraced. So you see more success, compared to last time. HC says, at Jared, that's been going on since before I was born. Black quarterbacks are condemned for their legs while whites are praised for their leg. Yeah. David Podan, that's a new name right there. Hello, hey, what's going on? Go Eagles, absolutely. Absolutely go Eagles, my fella. Oh, man. All right, so listen, man, we've been going for over an hour right now. I got to hit these streets. I'm definitely gonna make my way down to the link because the game we got a relatively early game. It's early afternoon, 3:00. So I want to go down there and mingle with some of these tailgaters, see what's up, dap up all my people, grab a couple little shrimp down there. You know how we do, and prepare for this, man. Prepare for this. Right now, it's all the red carpet has been laid out for us. The Commanders went up there, did some heavy lifting for us. All right, so now we can welcome them to the Casbah to get their ass whooped next week. And that's what it should be. That's what it should be, man. Um, that's what it should be. Then I watched TCU. Oh, not yet, bro. Not yet. We're gonna get to that, man. Right now, heavy Eagles and so on. We're gonna get to that. Haley Van Lift. Oh man. So listen, man. Appreciate everybody coming out, man. Thanks. It's gonna be a heck of a day. I will see y'all then. We definitely got to go live afterwards, right? Life is for living. One way we not the Lions. I love that. We're gonna let that sit there, let that simmer for a minute. I agree 100%. But I'm gonna see y'all later, man. Peace out.